I am a snare drum. I am uncultured when it comes to many things in life. One of them is Vocaloid. But I want to learn more about it for normal and cool reasons, and definitely no reasons that would piss anyone off. I want to stress up front, this is not an exhaustive rundown of Vocaloid or its history. Plenty of other videos do that already. I'd be very late to that particular party. My goal here is to better understand the space as an outsider. So first, we need an expert to tell us what Vocaloid is.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott, president of Domino's Pizza. Vocaloid enables you to produce songs. I knew our talented Domino's Pizza crew could work together and create great Vocaloid songs.
Thank you, Scott, president of Domino's Pizza. In 2004, Yamaha released Vocaloid. It's a singing synthesizer. You use it by inputting notes like you would any other virtual instrument. But beyond changing notes, you can also change the words being sung, the inflections, etc. You're basically creating a voice. And since its launch, we've gotten 6 versions of Vocaloid. The most recent one came out in 2022. Other software like Vocaloid exists, but the culture around this genre is most commonly known as Vocaloid. So that's what I'm going to call it. And what is that culture exactly? Well, a neat feature of Vocaloid is that it allows you to use different sound banks. Think of it as different vocalists you can mimic. The first 2 were Leon and Lola by Zero G. You could use them to make songs like Freaky Sheep and Forever. But then there was a company, Krypton Future Media. They made their own sound banks, and one of them was...
Another diva sold out the Nokia Theater in downtown LA. She's not real though, she's a digital diva.
Hatsune Miku is a Vocaloid sound bank. Its personification, according to Krypton, is an android diva in the near future world where songs are lost. Me too. Visually, Miku is a 16-year-old girl with a robot aesthetic and giant-ass pigtails. Since her debut in 2007, she has become the most popular Vocaloid sound bank and character by far. It's not even close. She's opened for Lady Gaga.
I came from Hatsune Miku, Carlos.
She played Letterman. She had a set at Coachella 2024. She's the voice of Nyan Cat, for God's sake. It's not just music, though. Miku is, at least by my own experience and beautiful mind, a popular character of the internet. Movies, manga, rhythm games, video games in general. And because of her success, she opened the door for other Vocaloid personifications. Right, Kagamine-ren is a vegetarian. Kagamine-ren loves cake. The Destiny of Gumi. Yep, Flower's a steak woman. I know the Vocaloids. But even with others coming into the space, Hatsune Miku still stands tall. She is a global phenomenon. Right? In Japan, yeah, 100%, she's huge. But in the States, I'm not so sure. Like, for me, Miku is recognizable. Like, I know her from internet culture at large. But as an artist, who is she? I don't know her for her songs. I know her for things like
I can't see the end of the horizon, Hatsune Miku!
And
So, can a low come up in your crib?
Man, f*** you, I'll see you at work.
Oh, you don't hate me cause I'm beautiful. Maybe you got rid of that old yee-ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your d***.
She's not a household name in the US. And when I say household name, I mean Beatles, Taylor Swift, people my mom would know. My mom will probably learn about Miku from this video, just like she learned about bitch lasagna. I think one reason that she hasn't blown up in the States is Hatsune Miku has never made a song. Remember, she's a sound bank, not a real person. Hatsune Miku songs are not by Hatsune Miku. All of Miku's songs are by actual artists. Artists like Ryo, Hachi, Wowaka, Kikuo. They've had a strong hand in shaping the overall sound and energy of Vocaloid songs. Who are your more listened Vocaloid producers this year? I've been listening to MF Doom and recently started listening to some Tyler. This distinction between the people making the music and who is singing it gets to an important point about this scene. Hatsune Miku is actually really complex as a pop star. Okay, so Hatsune Miku is a sound bank for the Vocaloid software. Anyone can make music using her voice and then release it for profit. Her personification is owned by a company, Krypton Future Media. However, it's classified under a license like Creative Commons, meaning you can make works that tie in the visual character Miku as long as you give clear attribution and don't make money. So you can make songs using the Hatsune Miku sound bank and make money off of them. You can also make songs and tie them to the character, but you can't make money on them at that point. And for the songs that get played at the concerts or put in the video games, I imagine there's some kind of licensing deal worked out. As a communal, internet-wide music project, Hatsune Miku is cool. I think that flexibility is what has allowed Miku and the other Vocaloids by proxy to become so meaningful to others. People who love Vocaloids love Vocaloids. And I think that's in part because you can really make them into whatever artist or person you want them to be. If nothing else, they're certainly playing the numbers game. According to Krypton, over 100,000 songs have been released with her voice. You ever get exhausted from reading a sentence? Also, a part of me wishes the producers were a bigger name in the space, or at least more openly represented. As an outsider to the space, I can't help but feel put off by that disconnect. Between Ryo and Miku, one of them is playing Coachella, one of them is a Fortnite skin, one of them can race against Sonic and SpongeBob, but perhaps that demonstrates what the audience ultimately wants from this genre. I think there's another reason why Vocaloid never got super big in the US. See, while there are Vocaloid avatars that aren't depicted as teenage anime girls, the majority of them are. It is a massive part of the genre, one that ties it directly to Japanese culture and anime. For most of my own childhood, people saw anime as the nichest of niches. The kind of niche that even Nietzsche eating niches would be like, that's too niche for miche, biche. There used to be such a stigma around liking it. Nowadays, it's far more visibly popular, especially with American young folks. Merch in Walmart, balloons at the Macy's parade, live-action adaptations. And yet, for some portion of people, anime still has a reputation. Maybe they think Pop Team Epic is weird, which it is, but in a fun way. Or maybe they see anything animated and think it's for kids. It's become more visible without necessarily becoming more respected in certain circles. Look, maybe I'm biased too. I'm the kind of guy who knows anime but isn't deep in it. I'm like, I love loads of niche anime, like Persona 5. So take that with a grain of salt. Maybe certain series are already big without stigma, and I'm just not seeing it. And that's not to say that stigma will always be there. Maybe in 50 years, President IShowSpeed will celebrate the 300th anniversary of America with a One Piece marathon. My overall point here is, I do think that Western mainstream audiences wouldn't be fully ready for a pop star who's so anime influenced. In anime's defense, maybe that doesn't matter. A lack of a real monoculture means that specific scenes can thrive without major mainstream attention. But look at the comments anytime Miku performs for an unsuspecting mainstream audience, and they all boil down to, why aren't people enjoying this more? For the majority of people in the US, I think the strong anime influence is a turnoff. Well, you might be wondering, why am I curious about Vocaloid now? The tech's been out for 2 decades at this point. Why am I taking an interest in it now? Has anything been happening in music that might make me curious about tech that can create virtual artists? Yeah, I'm still on my AI bullshit. Let me stress right up front, Vocaloid is not AI. It is a distinct synthesizer that requires human input and creativity. It's not like you just type a prompt into Miku GPT and it gives you a vocal. But listen, don't get mad. Don't shoot me with the gun I know you have. I think there are surface level similarities. For one, they do kinda sound alike. They have a similar warbled, processed sound. Of course, there are differences. The sound of Vocaloid is more intentionally lo-fi than whatever vocal Suno would give you, but I don't think the average Joe would pick up on them immediately. For two, the users for both use it for similar reasons. Take a look at this video.
Why do people use Vocaloid instead of human vocalists?
Well, there's plenty of possible reasons. Can't sing, don't have the money for vocalists, don't have the voice type they want. Vocaloid, cool, Miku, cute.
Those first first three reasons sound a lot like the reasons someone might get into AI music, no? At least from what I've gleaned from Suno users online. And for three, they do both replace humans. Vocaloid, the software, still needs a human to operate it and a skilled human to operate it well, but Vocaloid is still mimicking a singer. By using Vocaloid, you're replacing a singer and maybe an engineer if you're not doing it yourself. I want to be clear, none of that means I think Vocaloid equals AI. It does not. Even from my limited experience with the genre, it's clear that Vocaloid is basically a virtual instrument. The processes for both Vocaloid and AI might lead to a similar end result, the creation of a vocal part without a human singing it, but the ways they get there are radically different. And there's one more wrinkle worth mentioning. While working on this, I kept seeing people who were genuinely confused about the differences between Vocaloid and AI, treating them as basically the same thing, which makes me wonder how many more people glance at them, decide they're one and the same, and move on without looking closer. And honestly, that feels like a disservice to what Vocaloid actually is. My point here is, Vocaloid culture has shown that there is a path for virtual artists to become popular and beloved in the same way as human artists. And it does make me wonder if AI artists could take a similar path. Which begs the question, will it take the same path? We as people love to predict the future, which is a shame because we kind of suck at it. We tend to use the past as an indicator for the future, which is a good thing. The past can give us a lot of lessons to learn from, but not if we take it at face value. You can't just look at one thing that happened back then, another thing that's similar and happening today, and then say, yeah, these two things are the same. I say all that because I don't think virtual artists are gonna suddenly take over now in the US just because they got big over the past 2 decades, primarily in Japan. That doesn't mean they won't exist. Hatsune Miku has been around for nearly 2 decades, and there are fake bands already like Gorillaz and Huntrix from K-pop Demon Hunters. Some AI artists have unfortunately gotten record deals. Hell, take a look at VTubers. They're getting bigger all the time. But I do think there's a line that most fully virtual artists won't be able to cross. And it's not touring like you might be thinking, because Miku's shows say otherwise. The key difference is more spiritual. It's about making something that other people care about and want to see themselves in, creating something that inspires people to the point where they'll go to shows and expos and build community around it. Miku's been able to play Coachella, but how many virtual artists can say the same? I feel like they would have been friends. If anything, I still come back to how fan-driven the community for Vocaloid is. Loads of people emphasize how the future of music is community engagement and fans feeling like they're a part of the process. And I think Vocaloid is proof of that. I do wonder if one day we may see some virtual artist top the charts with fan-made songs and visuals. I'll even offer up a name for them, Hatsune Miku. But I want to hear from you now. What do you make of Vocaloid? Are you a fan already? Let me know in the comments. And if the concept of virtual artists intrigues you, check out this video next.